for you. So the first question you asked me is, what is my experience with LinkedIn? And am I pronouncing your name correct? Is it Emmanuella?
Yes.
Okay. Emmanuella, I started
Emmanuella.
using, and I started using LinkedIn in 2014. LinkedIn was 1 year old. LinkedIn showed up on the internet in March of 2013. And so it's what? So it's a little over 10 years old now. It's 11 years old. So I started using LinkedIn in 2014, and I got serious about it in 2017. And no, I'm saying this wrong. I'm saying this all wrong. It's 04 and 03. Hang on. I'm saying it wrong. When was LinkedIn created? I said it all wrong. I got on LinkedIn in 2004. I got serious about using LinkedIn in 2007. Okay. I started teaching LinkedIn as a business tool in 2009. So I've been using it for quite some time. The next question you asked me, and I'll let you ask any other questions. I'm just going to go through your list and answer them, and then you can ask me any other question. You asked, what should you post on LinkedIn? And are there any unspoken norms? So here's the word about what you should post. You should post content that is relevant to your career or business goals. Content that can show the viewer that you know what you're talking about, or you're learning and you're becoming more knowledgeable in a particular area. Example, if you are a farmer, you should not be posting a lot of content about dressmaking. It's not relevant. Okay?
Yeah.
Are there any unspoken norms? Yes. Two things. Number one, you never want to post anything that could distract or diminish your brand. Emmanuella, I often tell people, never post about politics or religion unless you are a politician or a minister. Stay away from those conversations. Here's the other unspoken norm. If you show up on LinkedIn and you find a conversation about dressmaking, or I don't care what the topic is, do not try to change the topic. Stay focused to the topic at hand. Someone started a conversation about social media, then you only engage and you participate in the conversation about social media. You do not try to hijack the conversation and make it about something else. A lot of people do that. Here's question number 3. After you create your LinkedIn account, what's next? 2 things. Well, you got the first one, you get the second one. Step number 1 is populate and build out your LinkedIn profile, telling the viewer as much as you can about who you are, what you've done, what you can do, what you've learned, what your skills are, as much as you can. And if you're in school, you may not have a whole lot to talk about, but share what you do. The second step you've listed here, and you say, what do you do next after connecting? Well, the second thing you need to be doing on a regular basis is, first of all, connecting with people whom you already know. Start there, because the people you already know may very well know people that you need to know. And your next question in that bullet point is, what do you do after you connect? You do this. You start conversations. You call the person, you email the person, you WhatsApp the person, you send them a LinkedIn message, and you pull that person into a conversation about them. And if you do that right, they will let you talk about yourself after you first make a conversation about them. Your next question is, how do you approach someone you want a job from or have taken an interest to? How do you catch their attention? Well, if you don't know them, one of the reasons why I tell you to first start building your LinkedIn network around the people that you know is maybe someone you know knows this person that you want to talk with, and maybe they know them well enough to introduce you to them. Then, once you get introduced to that person, don't ask for a job. Ask them to tell you more about themselves, learn more about them, learn more about what they do, make the conversation all about them. And then they may very well say, Emmanuella, tell me about you. And you can go, well, I'm doing this. I'm looking for job opportunities in different areas. And interestingly enough, one of the reasons why I want to talk with you is if it's relevant and appropriate, you can say to them, I'd like for you to tell me about this job that's at your company. Maybe it's something that I could bring value to. But don't ask for a job. Ask for a conversation about the company. And if you know there's a job there, ask for a conversation about the job. Don't ask for the job till you have permission to. So how do you approach someone? You find a way to get introduced to them. How do you create business relationships on LinkedIn? Just like I've been talking about. Share content, engage on content relevant to what your goal is, connect with people who can introduce you to people, connect with these people, try to pull them into an appropriate conversation. And as you start conversations, again, about them first and foremost, you'll start building relationships. Is it fast? No. Does it take time? Yes. Do too many people rush? Yes. You can't rush through this. Just keep moving forward. It's a journey, a long journey. And the way you turn these relationships into business relationships is as they look at your LinkedIn profile, look at your conversation, and they listen to what you talk about, and they discover, oh my golly, this lady knows stuff that's relevant to my business. So I not only know a good person, but I know somebody who's relevant to me. That's called developing a cross relationship, a personal in the extent you've connected on LinkedIn. I call it a human connection that leads to a business connection. And your last question, how do you know if a person is legit or a scam? Listen to their words. If they're using the same words over and over again that everybody else uses, I saw you on LinkedIn and you look like you're an expert. I saw you on LinkedIn, you look like a serious businessman. I saw you on LinkedIn and I thought you were really, really interesting. They're generally fake. And if they're doing this to the camera, if you see the back of their head and you don't see their face, they're a fake. There's lots of other telltale signs as well. It's generally that they are not being honest in their words, and you can, in time, you'll learn what those are. So,
okay.
What other questions do you have?
I jotted some from what you were talking about. You mentioned that you joined in 2004 and got serious about 2007. I kind of wanted to ask why, like, what changed? What new tactics did you apply that got you from someone who was relatively a newbie, somebody who was now more confident and confident to teach people about LinkedIn in 2000?
Can you move your microphone off your shirt and ask that again? I'm hearing static.
Oh, is it better?
That's way better. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I wanted to ask, you mentioned that you joined in 2004.
Yep.
Right? And you got so I say more serious about in 2007, and then started teaching about in 2009. So I wanted to ask, what new tactics do you employ that's like got you from the stage that you were in 2007 that made you confident and knowledgeable enough to teach about LinkedIn? What grew you?
Yeah. In 2005, I took my very first sales job. I'd never been a salesperson before. So I took a sales job. The guy who hired me told me he wanted me to cold call people. Do you know what cold calling is?
I have an idea.
It's where you call people who don't know you and you hope and pray that they'll have a conversation with you and you can sell them. It's calling people who don't have a freaking clue who you are. That's cold calling. I didn't want to cold call. I had no desire I was 49 years old. I had no desire about cold calling. So what I discovered is I discovered networking. And networking is where you go out and you say hello to people. You meet people every day, meet someone new. Every day, meet someone new. And while I was out networking and meeting people, I also started researching LinkedIn. I discovered a lot of the people that I wanted to talk with were on LinkedIn. They weren't doing anything back then, but they were on LinkedIn. And what I discovered is the more people I got to know, the easier it was for me to find the people I wanted to meet, and the easier it became for me to ask these people who I know to introduce me to the people I want to know. Now, what I was seeing is that people were on LinkedIn and they were sending out LinkedIn invites and hoping and praying the person would accept. I'm a religious person. I believe hope and prayer are important things in life. They are not business tools. And so I decided I didn't want to send out LinkedIn invites and hope and pray. So I started asking people to introduce me to people, and I started meeting people and getting into conversations, developing some level of trust and respect. And I started to be better at sales, and I no longer needed to cold call. That was the trigger for me to go, oh my God, there are more and more people on LinkedIn who are doing it wrong. They don't know how to do it. And there's nobody out there teaching it. Back in those days, there was no one teaching LinkedIn. And I said, I want to help people use this thing right. I proved it to myself that it works. And so I want to go show others how to do it.
Oh, wow. That's admirable. I mean, I saw your post about your LinkedIn course and I was like, okay, you do well. You were saying something about the unspoken norms. I've noticed that people you see it everywhere. Like someone starts a conversation and then I come in and I go like, click this link to go to my YouTube channel or to my LinkedIn profile. I thought it was like a way to market yourself because like people would see it and go there.
It's, that it's got to be relevant. End of the day, you participate in a conversation. And if you're not willing to participate in the conversation and share ideas, even share links, I can send people to a YouTube video about that topic. But if the topic is, again, about, social media, or the topic is about your community, and I send you to a YouTube video about this really cool car I got, that's not relevant. That's rude. So a lot of people, and also, Emmanuella, a lot of people think LinkedIn's all about marketing. Well, at the root of it, it absolutely is. But that's the root. The way you market in social media with humans, engaging with humans, is through our words and our conversations and making connections and sharing content relevant to what we want people to know us about. That's not marketing. That's just humans having conversations. The side effect of having a real beneficial, relevant, mutually beneficial, relevant conversation is that I'm building my brand. and I'm building trust and respect. That's the root of marketing, but it starts with conversations.
Okay. I also wanted to know, you were talking about when you were tackling the question how to approach someone, you were saying you should get introduced first. So basically, it's not advisable to just go straight up to the person and text, because I've done that and I got no responses actually. But what if you don't know anyone who knows the person? Like, the person's way out of your reach.
Well, so wait a minute. You said you're willing to walk up to the person and say hello. Is that what I heard you say?
No. I was saying, what if I was saying, what if you don't know the person? Like, you don't know anyone who knows the person. So, what do you do?
So a couple things. First of all, if you don't know anybody that knows that person, that tells me you have to keep growing your network. Now, you don't want to wait forever to find somebody who knows that person. Here's the second thing you could do. You could go look at their LinkedIn profile and see if they have any activity. Look at what they posted and engage on what they posted. Don't engage on their conversations or their comments or their replies. Look and see if they posted something that's relevant to their business. Watch the video, read the article, read the post, and then comment on that person's post. The moment you comment and they see it, they now know you. It might only be that much, but they know your name because you engaged on their stuff. You could then, after that, you could send them a LinkedIn invite, and let's call that person Steve and go, hey, Steve, I really enjoyed that post about XYZ that you shared yesterday. And I just want to let you know, I comment on it, and I thought I would send you an invite to connect as well. But reference the post and let them know you saw it and you enjoyed it or benefited from it.
Okay. Thank you, because I needed that advice, honestly. Yeah. During our talk, you mentioned something about branding on LinkedIn. I don't know how to pose this question. When you are branding yourself on LinkedIn, do you brand just one thing, or it can be as many things as you want? I've often heard that if you try to market so many things about yourself and build that kind of clustered brand, it's not going to help. Does that still apply on LinkedIn, or it's just like a social media something?
I get it. So you can't be everything to everybody. You just can't. However, if you look deep into my LinkedIn profile, you will see that not only am I a LinkedIn strategist, I'm also a career coach. I'm also a leadership coach. And I also do webinar development. So I do lots of things. But I lead with, and the majority of what you will see about me is I'm a LinkedIn coach and trainer strategist. Every now and then, you'll see content about my career coaching. Every now and then, you'll see content about leadership coaching. Every now and then, you'll see content about my webinar programs. But first and foremost, I lead with, I'm a LinkedIn strategist, trainer, and coach. You can have multiple personalities on LinkedIn. You just got to make sure that you're using LinkedIn focused on the most important part of your life, business or your side hustle, whatever it is, that is relevant to LinkedIn. Example, if you make cupcakes and you love to make and sell cupcakes, you may not get a lot of value about talking about cupcakes on LinkedIn. May not. Because a lot of people don't show up on LinkedIn to find great cupcakes. They show up on LinkedIn to find other business ideas. So maybe you'll really minimize and don't talk about your cupcake business on LinkedIn. You might reference it in your profile because that shows, especially if you have a business, it shows you have a business acumen and you're building a business. And so you're learning about business in your cupcake business. but focus on something that's really more relevant to LinkedIn. Does that make sense? Oh, you froze. Ah, I lost her. Let's see if she comes back in. Fortunately, I was recording this. I restarted the recording. What was the other question? Are you there or you froze?
Yeah. Yes.
What other question?
I'm back. I'm back.
What other question?
We've exhausted the ones I have.
So and the school that is Kwame, I'm a University of Science and Technology.
Yes, KNUST.
I know 2 people that went to that school.
Really?
Yep.
Are they still here?
They're in the United States. Yeah. Where's the school? Yep. There's a guy named Ransford, who's in Greensboro, which is right down the road from me. And then there's a lady named Nadia, who is in New Jersey in the US. While I was waiting for you to come back, I did some research for who I know. So look, I'm happy to do these. I'm happy to help you this and share this with you. If the school could benefit by having me come to speak to a class, I would be happy to have a conversation about how I could do that.
Oh, okay. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I was actually wondering how I could ask you if you'd want to do that.
I need to talk about how
I would talk to.
Yeah, I would need to talk with them about how I could do that. I don't show up for free. I need some honorarium. So, but it doesn't need to be an arm. And
that is understood.
It doesn't need to be 2 arms and 2 legs and a kneecap. Doesn't need to cost a lot. So, all right, Emmanuella, I'll save this video off. I'll put it on YouTube as an unlisted video, and I'll send you a link to it so you can get to it.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.